Now on screen you have the relevant timestamps to skip to the part of the video that you want to watch, but I do urge you watch the introduction and I can give you guys a brief rundown of what's in store this season for my league racing. So if you guys don't know, I've done a community post on my channel and I announced and confirmed that I'm taking part in 2 leagues this year: PSGL, Premier Sim Gaming Leagues, and WOR World Online Racing. PSGL is every Wednesday night at 8 PM UK time. I stream it on my Twitch channel, guys, link down below. And WOR is every Sunday night, I believe at 8 PM UK time as well, and I'll be also streaming that on my Twitch channel. So those are the league racing plans this year. I'm in second split, aka F2, in both leagues. And today we're kicking off a brand new season of PSGL. So far on the channel I've done a couple of social races. You may have seen the videos. If not, I'll leave them in the top right. Go check those out. But today, round 1 officially begins. If you guys are excited for the new league racing season, then drop a like straight off the bat. Subscribe for more weekly league racing content. I'm going to try and aim to get 2 videos out a week, give or take, unless it's a break week. And yeah, here we are then looking at this season's F2 split. So last year I was in F1, I got demoted to F2 this year, and the reason for that is very simple. F1 this year, top split, is a grid of entirely just full of F1 esports drivers. It's absolutely insane. I think 18 of the 20 or 17 of the 20 drivers are F1 esports drivers. So pretty much this is top split of the normal people. So as you can see, we've got quite a few big names in here, and if you know your league racing content and your league races, you know, if you're in that community, you may recognize a few names here. So this season, my teammate is going to be Lewis Welch, who is number 1 on the list. So he got the first choice in terms of car preference, and we both agreed to go for the Alpine. So very excited about that. There's some big names here as well, by the way. Dylan Warren, Ruben Vallejo as well. Who else do we have? Antoine Desaluski, Chanakinchi. We've also got Smasher, you may recognise him of course, HX4K. What else? Samuel Bean is a reserve driver, but a very, very fast driver. Paris Burrell, you may recognise him from AOR on last year's game when I was battling for the AOR Championship against him. Floris Viers, F1 esports driver of course. And yeah, just a very, very strong grid. And I mean, anywhere else this would be a top split because it's so competitive. So very excited about this. It's going to be very awesome, and I cannot wait. So Bahrain, round number 1, we're going to jump into things and we're going to get to enjoy quite a lot of things. So first of all, I'm going to try and make an effort to have you guys hear more comms this year. So for this race I was in a Discord call with my teammate Lewis Welch, and also a very kind of one-off special race engineer, F1 esports driver for Alfa Romeo, Philip Presnader, my teammate from last year in the Ferrari in PSGL top split. So yeah, it was a really awesome environment. I think we worked really well together. The comms were on point. And yeah, today you're joining me in qualifying. And currently, I went out on a set of mediums earlier on. I'm now on this set of soft tyres. And this is kind of my first proper serious lap here. So running up to the line, and we're going to set a 24.8, which is not ideal. And we're going to get a bit of commentary here real quick. Probably going to go, because I won't know, I'm going to aim for like a, well, I mean I can't aim exactly because that's already going to be a good lap for me, but if I can like a mid 5, like a 5.50, something like that, that's probably the region I think for P11. It's a bit quicker than P10.
At the moment, yeah, it will be P10.
But I'm expecting people to improve, so. Now, pretty much what that was all about, we was a little bit off the pace this weekend in qualifying anyway, so we was aiming for P11, both myself and Lewis Welch, and P11 is about a 124.5 high, so that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So here we go, this is my final attempt, let's go for the full lap and let's see how it goes. At the final corner, DRS wide open, and we go down to turn 1. Spot the braking, you want to look at the 100 meter board, or if not just before that, about 110, 115 meters. Down a second gear for me, but usually third I'd recommend through here. Short shifting your way out of turn 2 to try and carry as much speed as possible out of here. Up to turn 4. I take this in 4th, but sometimes I do use 3rd for rotation purposes. It depends if you want to square off the corner or not. In this case I do use 3rd. I get a nice clean exit and find almost a 1/10 of a second. Now downhill through 5, 6, 7 and 8. All about hooking up this section. I run a little bit wide there as I hit the curb at an awkward angle. Somehow I didn't get invalidated on my lap. So we're going to keep going here using the runoff curb as we go towards turns 9 and 10. Very important here to enter quite shallow and straighten up the braking as much as possible to brake really late, and then try and cut back in and clean up your exit. And as you can see, we found a load of time, nearly 3 tenths up this was the peak of the lap here. We now head into this left. I just missed my apex a little bit. We get a good exit though and get the time back. And we are pretty much 3/10 up right now, which is exactly what we need. But heading through here, I was a bit too cautious. Didn't quite get it right. Still found a bit more time though, but there was definitely more on the table. And all we've got left to do is the final corner. Right now we're on course for a very low 5 as making our way for the final corner. I didn't quite get the exit and I lost quite a bit of time. I lost about a 10th through there. I broke too early and we in the end get a low 6, which is not what I wanted. And we finish in P16.
What's the cutoff?
And ideally, you know, for a second there, I didn't realise what the cutoff was. And I was being a bit too safe. In hindsight, I should have just committed. I think a high 4 is what I would have got had I really committed to that final corner. Because I kind of hesitated. And it would have put us around Norbert and Dormeyer. So somewhere in that region, P11, P12, P13. So bit of a shame. Lewis Welch also messed up his calculation. He'd done a 24.6. He's a lot quicker than me. He's about 2/10 or 3/10 quicker per lap on average in practice than me around here. So we're a little bit out of position to where our pace really is. So looking forward to the race, and we're going to try and turn it around. We went through a strategy program. We had plan A, B, C, and D. So it was all planned out and ready to go. And we went for opposing strategies at the race. So I spoke to Presnader, and we agreed to split the strategies. I'm going to go for a hard to soft strategy. Lewis is going to go for a medium to soft. So I'm going to rely on Lewis to help me and pull me along in this first stint, basically. So here we go. 5 lights are on for the opener in Bahrain, and away we go. Pretty decent start on the hard tyre. Not bad at all. Lewis gets a flyer, so we're going to let him go. We're not going to fight him. The plan is to try and follow him, and you know he can help us kind of run a good pace in these tyres. We go to the outside of turn 1. We find a bit of space. Meanwhile, Lewis gets a bit screwed over. We get squeezed into the apex.
Okay.
And I think Lewis got spun behind. I think he went for a full spin. You can see in the minimap, he's recovering right now. So spin number 1 for Lewis Welch in this race, unfortunately for him. As the Ferrari, they're getting a bit out of shape. He rejoins. It kind of comes back into the racing line there quite aggressively. And I had to take a bit of a breath there. And I'll try and pause at certain comms in this race so you guys can hear what's going on. There will be me talking over some of the comms at some point during the action. But you can see right now, Warren going for a move up the inside, and now he's going to the outside here into turn 10. We're going to try and hold it, but the traction on the medium is just a lot better right now. And he's on the racing line. He's going to get that clean traction and make the move. So far, so good.
Right, ideally we want to keep Bayana behind. The medium guys will want to fight you at the moment. Just let them have the position. We are not resting them at the moment.
So we're just kind of, you know, Philip reminding me that we're not racing these guys right now. Good start from us. You know, we've done well to compete on the hard tyre. The only other person on the hard tyre is TF10 Baena, who's behind us. So as long as we're ahead of him, we are the lead car on this kind of alternate strategy 2.0 in many ways. Now, Flores Villas on mediums, F1 esports driver. Decent bit of pace right now. He's going to make the move here. We're not going to fight it again.
The race will come too if you just stick it in their DRS train.
And that's the plan. We're just going to try and run in the DRS basically and make it work. And we'll see how it goes. So Flores gets by it.
Ferrari off in the wall.
You can see the Ferrari there on the left is off the track, and it's Norbert again. So the same person who had that incident on the previous lap where we almost got shunted off on the racing line. We're going to try and overtake him, and we're just about going to get it. We give him a bit of a squeeze onto the curb so he doesn't quite pick up the traction, and we make the move, and we're back into P16. So good stuff so far, and hanging in there. That's the plan now. We've got to try and stay within 1 second of the DRS train ahead of us. So far, so good.
Struggling to get this tyre switched on though.
Yeah, it takes a while to hards.
Really having to work hard to keep some pace.
Now you can hear me saying I'm struggling for pace, and the hard tyre takes a good 6-7 laps to really get into the window, and I was flirting with that 1 second gap. I was, you know, keeping it there.
Don't want to dip below 10% and give Norberto the indication I've got no ERS. I don't want to give him that info. Sendel's
No rush
already.
over.
That's
Yeah.
potential 2-stop.
Sandal is in, that will be a 2-stop.
So yeah, what I was saying there, I didn't want to give Norbert the invitation or the encouragement to overtake me by letting him know I've got less than 10% ERS, which is when your rear light starts to flash. When you do that, that means you've got no energy left, and the car behind will probably go for the move. Now, Lewis Welch was recovering after his spin earlier on. He had some really strong pace on his mediums, and you can see here he's battling with Norbert and trying to pick up a position. They're both side by side here, and it's looking pretty decent for Lewis right now, but Norbert isn't going to give up without a fight, so it's going to be a tricky one. Yellow flag as Antoine Desaluski is off the track, I believe, there behind us.
Yeah, the soft don't seem to be good at all at the moment. All the soft runners are struggling. Risky, I think he disconnected.
The race is coming to us.
Yeah, if you can keep it in that DRS, you are in a very good position, Tom.
And indeed, confirmation, Risky has disconnected, so we're going to gain another place. He's literally just rejoined the session right now, but I think it's going to take him a minute to regain control of his car, so until he does that, we may have a chance to pass him. Another yellow flag here as we've got another car off. This is Pedreño in the Alpha Tauri, so in the space of a lap, it's all kicked off.
I'm going to stay behind Risky on purpose.
And you hear me there saying, I'm going to stay behind on purpose so that I get DRS on the pit straight and I can carry the speed, because Flores is 1.1 ahead right now, so we need to try and get back within DRS.
Yeah, the stream has a huge delay. It's now only showing Ruben spinning, so it will be difficult. But I'll try
So yeah, Philip is watching with a bit of a delay on stream, so everything is not accurate.
with the penalties and stuff.
I'm dry on the RS now, so I'll try to keep him behind. Oh, I've got so much crash behind.
And now you see Lewis Welch going for the move again. Another yellow behind us as we're P12 now in this race. A couple of cars have pit, and Lewis this time is going to get the move done, I believe.
Okay.
Finally.
Nice one.
Nice one, so ideally if we can maybe on start finish swap the cars if nobody's a bit far back, so we don't get down.
Yeah,
Flores
penalty
penalty.
now as
Now
well.
this was always the plan, as Flores picks up a 3-second time penalty. We're going to let Lewis by, and he can try and get Flores, and I'm going to try and stick with my teammate.
I think we might be safe to do the swap on start finish.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. We've got enough of a gap that we can do this safely. I'm just not going to use any DRS or any engine mode.
On you go. I won't open DRS.
Yeah.
No, I'll open
I might be able to get Flores down
Yeah,
the
go for it.
You can hear Lewis saying you might be able to get Flores here. Not quite close enough, but he's going to keep the pressure on. We slot right in behind, so team orders executed perfectly. This was always the plan for the race on this strategy, so we're going to let Lewis do his thing, and I'm going to try and stick with him as he now tries to pass Flores here.
Don't fight it.
And you can hear him saying he's getting frustrated, don't fight it.
It's Flores, you have to come with that, Louis.
I got a penalty.
And that was a BS penalty there for Lewis Welch, and after this,
This guy is so dumb.
yeah, not ideal.
Okay, well,
Never mind.
that's a steers inquiry right there.
Okay, clear.
What a hard work.
Lucky, Louis.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Keep
My
going, mate.
pace is insane. He's just so dumb. If he'd have let me go, we could have caught the pack for him.
And it's so frustrating. Second spin of the race for Lewis, and none of them his fault. It's so annoying this happened.
I'm just trying to save a bit of ERS before I reach my important phase where I need to start pushing on these tires.
So at the moment, Antoine pitted, Ruben pitted, Samuel Bean pitted from the lead, and Christian Sandel as well. Piotr Stachulec is going in as well.
And you can hear Philip just running down the cars that have pit so far as I'm trying to kind of get an idea where I'm in the pack. And we're going to try and pass Flores here.
Let's give it a go.
I've let Samuel Bean go to try and drag me
Oh,
along.
never mind. That was a terrible final corner. That's going to ruin it. I'm not going to waste my entire battery trying to get past. I'll wait a little bit longer. I'll try and get him next lap. That was a terrible final corner.
So I messed up the overtake attempt. We'll try and get him next lap. Now I want to mention, you heard Lewis say he's going to try and stick with Samuel Bean. Now Samuel is the fastest driver in this split. He is a reserve, but he's by far the quickest. And Lewis was actually able to keep up with him quite easily, even after 2 spins on his tyres. And it just goes to show how strong his pace was. And it's a real shame he spun twice, because he really had pace here today to make something serious happen. Now we are going to make the move on Flores here and pick up P6 and finally get past the Williams and gain another place in this race, as the hard tyre now is coming into pace.
I'm using Samuel Bean to drag me along.
Good idea.
We're in the high 28s.
I've dropped Flores. Let's see if I can now pull away.
Yeah, good job, keep pushing now.
So you could hear Lewis in the high 28s. He was actually faster than me, even after all that time, after the spins and everything. He was so strong today, and he was still behind him now as we make our way onto lap 15. So more cars are going to pit. We're going to gain a couple more places here in this race, but
So we want to do plan D, -1.
Oh no.
What happened?
Oh,
Game
my
crash.
game's crashed. Fuck's sakes.
Oh,
no.
dear.
I literally had a crash in the exact same place I had one in a league race on F1 2020 as well.
That's unlucky. Yeah, it was looking like a really good race. P0.
And unfortunately, between Lewis's incidents and mine, it just wasn't looking like a good race. Now, I've sped this bit up so you can see the time that went by. Now, the good thing is I was streaming the race, and someone said in my chat I should check for backup invites and try and rejoin the lobby. I didn't even think of that. You know, it hasn't really happened to me before, this situation, so I didn't think to do it. And someone said to, you know, check my spare invites. And then it hit me, and that's exactly what I did. You can see me now, I'm actually putting my gloves back on here, and I'm booting the game back up. And overall, I lost about 3 minutes. But I managed to get back on the game and use a spare invite to get back into the race.
If you have fresh set of soft laying around there, it should be comfortably done so.
Flores sped into the pits.
So as you can hear, Flores spun in the pit lane, so he's not going to be a threat for us anymore. He's going to have a penalty, and you can see how I've rejoined the lobby. I'm trying to figure out how to take control of my car, which is weird to me.
You need to go into the settings, into the spectator settings. Spectator menu.
Ah, there it is.
And yeah, travel select and take control of the vehicle.
And this is why we have a spotter, because Philip knows and I can stay nice and calm and he can help me out. So we're back in the race, but off the pace though, and my tyres are pretty old.
Yeah, Kanakinchi just got 3 seconds.
So another penalty there for Chanakinchi. So cars are starting to rack up penalties in this race now as John HX4K makes a move now.
Well, the AI didn't use any of my ERS, which is good.
My tyres are pretty worn out. This was my scheduled pit stop lap. I was planning to go a lap earlier and potentially pit lap 17, but yeah.
You will most likely rejoin in 18 though. But you never know, there will be a safety car maybe.
So it's a bit peak, you know, not what I wanted. That AI was very slow. The Ghost AI that was left in the race, I think, was on 80 difficulty, so it was really, really off the pace. I lost so much ground, and yeah, we're now going to finally pit for the soft tyres. Now, I rejoined the lobby. I had terrible FPS. You can't see it in the video, but live, you know, while I was doing it, my FPS was off and I could feel it. So I wanted to try and make a few adjustments. I didn't have time in the first part of the pit stop because I just didn't have time. So I had to back out to pull the clutch away. But I managed to just about get it done in time. And I changed my my setting there to make sure that we get a bit more FPS. Now, it didn't really help much, to be honest. It just seems like because my game crashed, my PC was running a bit weird. And yeah, we're going to have that for the rest of the race. Now, we're P18, like Philip said, so we've got work to do to try and catch up. So, lap 20, yellow flag, and we've got Baena here off the track, and just ahead of him, Ulas Azulurim as well. So we're going to pick up 2 places in 2 corners pretty much, and move up to P16. And of course, we've got that fresh soft on, so we've got that advantage of pace. So I'm going to push. I've got no penalty, so let's give it everything.
Flores has 11 seconds.
And you can hear there, Flores Vias has a penalty now. We're going to get a pace update.
What's your best lap, Lewis?
Asking Lewis for what his pace is to kind of get an idea as to what he's running at.
27.0.
And you can see we're pretty much running identical pace right now. My pace was actually really strong, and we were getting ourselves back in the race as we now try to pass Norbert here.
Caution, caution.
Yellow.
Another yellow up ahead.
Yeah, that's just Ulas retired in the pits.
And as you can hear Philip say, it's just Ulas' AI who we passed before retiring the pit box. So we pick up another place up to P15 now, and we dispatch Norbert.
14 seconds.
So yeah, we're going to crack on and keep pushing here and trying to get everything out of these tyres as we chase down Flores.
I'm trying to... Yeah, McLaren is round. Dylan,
P10.
I think.
Be aware, there's an
Yeah,
incident
Dylan
in the
is
next
off the
part
track.
of the track.
And there we go. Dylan Warren has had an issue and he's now left, so another place gain for us.
That's what I mean, people are going to start battling now. Could get ugly. I think he...
Yeah, and you are gaining on Ruben
Okay, clear.
at quite quick rate.
doesn't have enough.
Fine.
But the problem is now, reaching the final 3 laps, my tyres were starting to go. I was catching Ruben, but
I think you need 4 more tenths, Louis.
we lost a bit of pace and the tyres started to go off.
Are they fighting? They're fighting.
Dormeyer crashed.
Yeah, Domaya's up.
Out for position. He had no penalties, that's
Green
good.
flag.
And yet another crash there as Andreas Dormeyer crashes, so we're up to P13 now.
Flores is in trouble. I think he had contact with Dormeyer.
Yeah, 17 seconds for time penalties as well.
They're both VSR drivers as well.
And I think Flores is actually slowing down here, and that's going to give us... I mean, we're going to get P12 anyway because we don't have any penalties, but I was pushing as much as I could at this stage.
Yeah, I think Sandel is gonna hang on with the 22 lap of tyres.
And Christian Sandel, who pit right at the start of the race, I think lap 5 for the hard tyre, somehow managed to make his tyres work to the end. And it looks like it's going to be P12 for us in this race, even with the penalties to other people, as we go for the final corner now.
Yeah, so P1, P2, P3 was Gedon, Bean and Stahulet on track. Gedon had penalty, 6 seconds, and yeah, I think we would have been around P4, maybe in the leading train. So, had you kept up the pace and been disconnected?
And it was so frustrating because the pace was there, it really was. We were so strong, and you know, if we cast our minds back to the first stint and the kind of cars we were around, it was looking pretty decent. You know, we only finished 23 seconds off the lead following a disconnection, or not disconnection, a game crash followed up by disconnection, and then a 3.5 minute phase, I believe, of nothing. So we lost a big chunk of time, which was really frustrating, especially because we was only 5 seconds off Shazoo Neon when my game crashed, and we was catching them. That was the pack of cars of Shazoo Neon, Christian Hausman, Richie, Get Owned, and I believe, I think the McLaren in P3 as well, possibly, I'm not quite sure, but we were catching, and we had some really good pace. Now, I think we had 5 seconds, we was catching, and then we would put the soft tyres on. We had no penalties. It could have easily been a top 6, top 5 finish today. And as for Lewis Welch, I mean, 2 spins and a BS 3-second time penalty, and he still finishes P10 and gets a point. So it's a real shame. If you look at the fastest laps, you know, Lewis and myself, we were really strong today. So a massive missed opportunity, you know, that so much went wrong because the pace was really there. I think Lewis actually could have won the race, to be honest with you. The fact he was 16.3 and you take away the 3 seconds from the penalty, which is technically 13.3 seconds off the lead, after 2 spins, Lewis should have won the race today. He had the pace to do it, and it's really frustrating that we couldn't start off the season with some bigger points. And I should have definitely got a top 5, maybe even top 4. Because I didn't have any penalties. So yeah, we go on to the next one, round 2 at France, but a frustrating opener here today, and a lot of practice went into this and it didn't really pay off just because of bad luck, which is a real shame. But guys, if you enjoyed the opening episode, leave a like. Let's try and smash over 1,000 likes. Subscribe for more weekly league racing content on my channel, and as always, check out the 2 videos on screen. I'll leave links to Lewis and Philip down below for their Twitters, so go check them out in the description down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one, round 2. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.